Pocket Party.
And we're back. Hey, it's Darren Carter, the party starter. That's right, you are listening to the Pocket Party Podcast. Thank you so much. If you enjoy the show, click the link. It says buy me a coffee and show your support. Lets me know you care. No matter what platform you're listening to, please go over to YouTube and give this YouTube podcast a like and some comments and any other videos while you're at it. Today we have a very special guest, good friend of mine. Please welcome Brian Swinehart.
Hey, hey.
Gotta hit him with the hey, hey.
Yeah,
Give me another one.
Hey, hey.
I think that's the future, man. The past was 3. Remember 3? Give me 3 hays.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, see, that's my generation knows that as Fat Albert, because he'd go, hey, hey, hey.
Oh, that's right. Fat Albert. I saw, hey, hey, hey. I mean, you did it.
It's Fat Albert. Yeah, and then you hit him with the 2.
Too. Hey, hey.
Yeah.
I'm a little less big than Fat Albert, so I hit with 2.
Yeah, next thing you know, there'll be like some anorexic comic. You hit him with just a 1.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, yeah, hey doesn't have, hey's more like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know. But when you hit him with the,
Hey, hey. What you doing today? Oh, yeah. You making me happy. Oh, yeah. Oh, work it, girl. Yeah.
Now, by the way, he's married and he has a family now. But,
yeah, so
but
I know that was turning a lot of people on who were listening. So.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh, this family guy over here. No, but back in the day when you were young, single, ready to mingle, you know, you were like, I remember the first time I heard you do the hey hey, where it really like stunned me or something. Where I was like, it was around 2018. We were in the Reno airport. And you told some girl, hey, and she actually stopped. She go, hey, hey. She stopped and started talking to you.
Yeah, it was very effective. I could really get people into conversation like that. And sometimes I can say it in such a way that they think that they know me. I've had that before where this girl, I was at the Improv. She started talking to me, told me about how she was on The Price is Right. She just kept talking to me. And we're walking. She walks outside. She shows me the car she won on The Price is Right. And talking to me, said it was a lot of taxes, but it's worth it, talking to me. And then she said, by the way, where did we meet? I said, well, we just met 5 minutes ago.
And you're like, and I'm young, single, ready to mingle. And for you, baby, the price is right. Hey. Yeah. What's the thing you tell on stage about all the hays? I love it how it rhymes, all those rhymes you say.
I said, fella, you ever seen a beautiful woman and you start to say hey, but she says, nay, now get away. With me you will not lay. I got pepper spray. It still burns to this day. Dating is risque.
If she's Latina, she'll say, orale.
Orale.
You can throw that in there.
She's Latina. She says, orale.
That means all right.
All right. Oh, orale. Okay, I should know that because my wife's Latina. But
oh, yeah, ask her. I think it might be a Mexican, California, West Coast slang. But, yeah, because, hey, you could do the, all right, orale, orale.
Orale.
Yeah, because it means all right.
All right, orale.
That's funny, the hey. That's, was it a trip going from being like the single guy that was just constantly like seemed like you're back in the day your life force was to wake up and just meet girls like you're one of the top guys that I know that would he loved meeting new people.
Yeah, I like meeting new people, man. It was fun, especially when it was all around. But then when I met my girl, now, my wife, when I met her, it was like, oh, shoot, dude. She's like serious, all these other girls weren't very serious. You didn't have to take them real serious. So, but then I met her and it's a little more. So, but I had fun, man. It was fun practice, especially living in LA. I always had flyers to my shows, had something to promote, had something to talk about, something to do. So
I find what's great about it now, and I've seen you grow as a man. Like you've gone from hey, let's go around and I got it. It's everywhere you go. It was almost like, dude, focus on your career, man. Dude, now you've been rock solid. Like, okay, I got to exercise this time. I got to make my flyers at this time. And I love to see that in you, Brian. I started noticing it probably back when you first met your lady, back when you guys were just newly dating and stuff. And it's and I can only imagine now with the family how you're just like. You know what I mean? You're really driven, and plus you keep yourself busy with like your wrestling conferences or wrestling competitions, and you got to keep your diet right, your exercise right, your fitness health right.
Yeah, man. Well, that's true because getting back into wrestling it puts the discipline in you, and it puts a little fear in you because your opponents are. It puts fear into you because your opponents are so tough, and then with my wife, then I had like a solid meal plan
For comedy. You could be like, she's even tougher.
Yeah, she is even tougher, yeah, but not really. No, she's not.
But for your jokes, you could be, my wrestling opponents are so tough. Then my home life is even tougher.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. So then with her, it just kind of helps too because like I get to eat healthy and because she's an awesome cook, dude. Oh man. And so I'm more focused and I'm like, dude, I got to get all this stuff done. And
aren't you so glad that single life is done? I mean, I remember you used to tell me these crazy stories of like being on these dating apps and the crap that because you're not the kind of guy that's mild mannered and holds back your opinion.
Yeah, well, it was fun. It all worked out in perfect timing, right? Because I look at it like, man, if one thing would have went wrong. I mean, you think about how I met my wife, man, that was all perfect timing, and that's how I say, man, you got to meet a lot of the wrong ones to get to the right one. Hey. So.
It might be on a delay.
But you'll get there someday. Some ways.
She's from Honduras, but she's here to stay.
Yeah. With me, she likes to play. Okay, on delay.
She said, no way, Jose. I got a Brian Swinehart up in Ohio.
Okay, now.
All right, that was a reach.
Okay, we were reaching, but we tried. That was a good run. That was a good pun run.
A good pun run. I liked it. So tell us about those dating, back in the days with the dating app, some of those crazy adventures, and try to turn your body a little bit this way so we can get you on this mic.
Okay, so because in LA, it's like people are so, I don't know, they're weird, dude. They're like, compared to like anywhere else.
LA, they're crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're so technology type of a place. I mean, you think about it. If you ever drive in from somewhere else and you're on the road for a while, and then you get to LA, like you can start feeling like the energy, like how technology has its grip around that place. That's why a lot of people there don't believe in God because, dude, technology has won over there. So, anyways,
it's funny you say that. Hold that thought. You got the thought that you're holding?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. I'm not very confident in that answer, but Brian, my buddy Steve Simone, he came back to the Comedy Store for a big 50th anniversary, and he was sitting on the wall, and he had left LA right after like the BLM riots and all that craziness, the Summer of Love as they call it, and it was just shut down and riots, and it was awful, it was terrible. And he moved to Florida, and I saw him at the Comedy Store parking lot in April of 2021. And he was sitting on the wall and he was just observing the crowd. And I go, what you thinking, man? And he goes, it just feels godless right here, right now. Like he meant like the whole city. He didn't mean like the comedians. He meant like just the vibe of it. He goes, I felt the same way when I went to China. They don't believe in Jesus Christ. They don't believe in God. He goes, I felt that lack in China, and I feel it here in West Hollywood at that time. Now things have gotten better. But at that, I know exactly what he meant. It was like a dystopia. It was a weird, like you're seeing wood, blocking windows and stores that were shuttered and businesses that were gone and lights that used to be on were gone. And there was also like construction, which is weird. But there was construction going on at that time, so things were being built up. But there was no lights on at night, and it just looked crazy. It looked so weird. And it's interesting that you brought that up. Continue with your story.
Well, yeah, because that's what happened to it. So, man, I knew I would forget my story. Okay.
Technology and dating.
Oh yeah. So then, so it's kind of like you said, God's more likely to be in nature, places like that. LA, the people are just, it's too much, So, anyways, but so it's not a place where, people are tough there too, like. And everybody is going for a dream or a goal or ambition. You'll never say never, but it's very unlikely that you're going to meet somebody who's going to ever say, oh, I moved to LA to start a family. No, you're not. I'm here to become famous. I'm here to be a star on a show. I'm here to get my name in lights. I'm here to be somebody special. And
that's true.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. But that was funny what you first said. No, nobody's like, "What'd you come to LA for?" To start a family. Yeah, that it happens when you're there. But what I love about LA is the people that are like driven to do something more than what they could have been if they just stayed in.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, I was at the park a few days ago. And our buddy Kevin Alderman was there. He goes, "Hey, I'm here right now, and I just got done having. Here's my day. I had a set that night at the Comedy Store in the main room, which was fantastic. But earlier in that day, I did a writing session with Fraser Smith, who's back on the radio at KLOS. So we're at the at the steakhouse, and we're writing. And I'm walking back because I like to get my little walks in, my exercise. And Kevin goes, "Hey, I'm at the park right now." And I go, "No way." I go, "Hey, I'll meet you there." So I get there, and as I get there. He was talking to two guys because he's a very outgoing. He's more outgoing than I am, man. I see people working at the park. I'm like, let them do their thing. He's like, I think it's because he was a Navy brat growing up, moving around a lot. He's like, "Hey, brother," and he just like starts talking to people, shaking their hand and all this stuff. I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. He's got that drive in him. He's like, Anyways, so he introduced me to two guys. One was a really tall guy that was an actor. Another guy was a Tom Cruise lookalike who came to. He had that smile and. It's funny. The first thing I noticed about him was we shook hands and he looked me right in the eye, and we were talking for a little bit, and then he said he's an actor but also a stuntman.
Oh, that's
cool. And his goal is he wants to be an action star. That's what I'm saying. It's like
okay. Yeah. I like that about it too because people take chances. Like when I used to work on sets, and I'd say I was on an extra job. I love talking to the other extras. Man, everybody had a goal. Everybody had ambition. Everybody had something like that. But my point is that when you're a single person in that atmosphere, there's not like you're not meeting a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I just want to have a family," or "The simple life's good for me." And when you're looking for somebody for a little bit of a longer term situation, the starlets who are trying to be the next Marilyn Monroe are great for about 6 to 8 weeks. But they're not.
Damn, dude. Oh, my God. Oh, I thought you were going to say years, and I thought that was harsh. They're good for about 6 to 8 years. You're like, weeks. Oh, my
weeks.
God.
Some people would say days, but I would say weeks. They're good for like a couple weeks of your life that you're letting pass by. But there's a certain time to jump on and off the train. And if you stay on any of those trains too long, you're going in the wrong direction. So
you're saying if you're looking for something more than acting comedy, you're saying if you want to get like the part of your life that like a family.
Yeah, because who's more famous, right? People always in LA are really concerned with fame, but ultimately who's more famous? The people who are out there selling out big venues, yeah, maybe, but if you have a family, you'll end up being more, you're making a bigger impact. You're kind of more famous in that little group of people's eyes, right? Because like there could be the biggest star in the world, right? And I loved Tom Petty, dude. Loved that guy's music, but I missed his last concert. I feel bad about that. But as great of an influence as Tom Petty, like, who mean more to me, my family or Tom Petty, right? And I think that I see that a lot with, in my opinion, in the business is people are so worried about the fame stuff that they think they can't have both, partly I think fame and family, or they will pick fame over family to some degree. So in LA, I mean, just because it's such a prevalent thing there, it made meeting people kind of like, I thought hard. Like it was easy to meet people and like get your 6 to 8 weekers in, but something more than that, I don't think LA was a good place.
I know what you're saying. You sort of look at some of the older comedians that are always been single, always been bachelors, and you're like, I don't know if I want that for my life.
Yeah, not exactly. Not that I don't mind it. It's fun, and I could have probably ended up like that too, and not knowing I was missing anything, right? So, it's all just chance. I mean, if I wanted to met my Mia Moore, then it would just be, I could have just stayed. If I didn't ever leave LA, I would possibly still be like that, still doing that. But yeah, luckily,
I do hear some of these dating horror stories from guys. Like a buddy of mine, he said that this woman was supposed to meet him. They met on some dating app, and he's waiting at the coffee shop at 7, and now it's 7:20, and she's still not there. And then she finally texted him and said, "Sorry, I'm in the back of a car, and my friend is in labor, and we're on our way to the hospital."
What a great excuse.
Yeah, exactly. What do you?
There's
You
no
know
way
what I mean?
that's happening.
I know, exactly.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, really? That's it. I mean, really, that's his in labor. That's not what happened.
Have you ever had women come up with excuses for you on these dating apps back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I used to get kicked off of them because I would get pretty crazy with some of them. Like, you know, this one girl was bragging to me about how she took the vaccine. Well, I got kicked off a Hinge because I called her a sheep. So,
So how'd she kick you? She kicked you off? She reported
the
you?
next day, the next day I was blocked. I figured it must be from that conversation. I mean, who knows? It could have been from, but I'm pretty sure she was fired up. You know, and that's back when there was good guys and bad guys, and if you said something like I said, then you were a bad guy, and you know you should be tarred and feathered. And you know, 5 years later, I was right, but you know, no apology needed because I'm sure nobody will give me one. But kind of hurt being an outcast at that period of time, and kind of hurts now when you see people flipping and flopping on it, and you know, capitalizing on something you said 5 years ago and got slammed for, and now 5 years later it's true, and you're watching the bandwagon jumpers. Now they should have jumped bandwagon 5 years ago when it was, you know, time to do the courageous thing, but now they're going to wait and capitalize on it. Punks.
You should tell your wife, hey, I want to go back on Hinge just to go find that bitch. Be like, honey, you sit right next to me. I ain't trying to get...
Maybe I'm going to put up pictures of me happily married. Who won now, bitch?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought about that, dude.
Dude, I
thought about that, dude. 'Cause I'm like, man, some of these losers I used to date, right? And now I'm like, dude, who won now, bitch?
Yeah, make that your profile picture, your wife and your baby right there.
Yeah, who won? Like,
I'm not trying to date. I just want you to know I won. I won. Yeah, who's swiping right on me now? I don't even know which way you swipe. Yeah. Hey, have you ever tried FarmersOnly.com?
No, I didn't try FarmersOnly.com, but I know some people who've met on FarmersOnly.com, so it does work.
I heard you got to plow right.
Proud.
That's where the hoes are.
Oh, shoot.
And it's so silly. Yeah, because I remember you and I did a podcast about Hinge, and you told me you had the text and you were reading it back and forth, and I think we actually called that episode Unhinged.
Yeah, you still got that? Because I don't remember what was on there at that point.
It's somewhere in the archives. You guys go back and look for it, and I don't know where it's at, but that was hilarious.
Well, I don't even remember what that one was.
That was fun. Hey, I got to bring something up, man. You said something about God and stuff, and you know, there's this book that I love. This book. It's called Trusting God Day by Day. 365 daily devotions. Now, it's great for someone like me, ADD, ADHD.
Okay.
I bought a Bible, and I said, let me buy a Bible that I can totally understand. You know, like one that's like, I think it's called I forget the name of it. Is it?
It's made in drawings instead of words.
Oh, dude, yeah. Wait, come closer. Yeah, it's called.
Made in drawings instead of words.
I know, stick figures, you know.
Yeah.
In the beginning. No, I think it's like the New Living Bible. It's a lot easier because I grew up with the King James, and I'm like, man, I want to understand this. Like, even when they talk about something like, you know, like I heard the other day on the radio, they were talking about like when Saul changed his name to Paul, and I'm like, why don't I know this story? There's so many of these little stories that you kind of know, you kind of don't know.
Yeah.
And I said, let me look into it. And I got to be honest, even that book is like, I'm not going to say it's hard to understand, but it's like, I'm like,
It's hard, dude. Those ancient names, this guy married this girl, they had this many kids, but this is their names, and this is their names, and
Ecclesiastes, and this,
It's like, okay.
So I said, let me dumb it down. So actually, my son has a couple children's Bibles. I'm like,
that's a good start there.
It is a good start, I swear, because it's like, okay, there's speaking of drawing, there's pictures. I'm like,
yeah.
But besides that, I love this book. It's a devotional, dude. This is perfect. It's like one page, like for you just pick a day, and it has like a Bible verse. Then the author has a little description, and it's great. It's easy to understand, and then like a little thing at the end. And I said, let me look up this one. So this is right before our trip. It says confidence. If this is for that date, confidence, no more pretending. And this is from Ephesians, which sounds like it's going to be boring and hard, but it's easy. It says, because of our faith in Him, we dare to have boldness. Because of our faith in Him, we dare to have boldness, courage, and confidence, a free access and unreserved approach to God with freedom, without fear. And what that means is they're talking about like, what is confidence? I believe confidence is all about being positive concerning what you can do and not worrying about what you can't do. Confident people do not concentrate on their weaknesses. They develop and maximize their strengths. Let's say you're not a numbers guy, Brian. That's what it says. On a scale of 1 to 10, you might be a 3. You might obsess in your inability to do math. You might be like, dang, I'm not good at math. I'm going to get this math for dummies. I'm going to really try to figure this out. So let's say you put all this hard work in, and now you've kind of moved up on a scale of 1 to 10 on math. You've moved up from a 3 to like a 5. All right? But it says, but your math obsession could eat up time that could be devoted to stuff you're good at, like an 8 or a 10. Like, creating, writing, or rallying support for charity, like things that you could be good at, stand-up comedy or writing a movie or whatever those things that you're already like really good at. Focus on that. Double down on that is what this is saying. I mean, there's all kinds of opinions, but that's what this is saying.
Oh, that's a great one.
Because I love this. You might rob time and effort from the 10s in your life just being a lonely 3 up to a mediocre 5. When you look at it this way, it's easy to say where you need to invest your efforts. I love this. This is right here. The world is not hungry for mediocrity. We really don't need a bunch of 4s and 5s running around doing an average job in life. This world needs 10s. I believe everyone can be a 10 at something. Confidence allows you and me to face life with boldness, openness, and honesty. Trust me on this. God will help you be some other person. He wants you to be you. The world needs 10s, and God's designed you to be a 10 in something. Trust Him and develop your strength. Think of a specific strength in your life. How can you move from a 7 or 8 to a 10? Thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. You can really, I can relate to that because not being a numbers guy myself, but it makes sense that, that's what's kind of rough about school sometimes. They make you take classes that you're not good at, and it's like you're still never going to use it.
Right.
So, yeah, it is good to focus on, and that would help get rid of a lot of the distracting stuff. And it is true. I mean, because you think about that back to the comedy business, man, it sure is easy to make it to the middle.
Yes.
It's like there's a lot of 4s and 5s. There's a lot of like, people you can just waste your time. You can be like kind of stuck. So yeah, it's probably a good idea to, what's this guy? I think Jim Rohn or one of these guys. He say Brian Tracy maybe say, write down the number one most important thing for you to do in the day and do that first thing in the morning. And I don't always do that, but I try. For me, actually doing that to me is I usually wake up in the morning and write down whatever dreams I had the night before, because that clears my head, and then I stretch and work out.
You know what my wife's pet peeve is? When I tell her my dreams that I had the night before. That's her pet peeve. You ever do that? You ever tell someone a dream?
Oh, well, it's boring if it ain't their dream. It's boring if it ain't their dream, right. But if it's like,
yeah.
But dude, there's in your dreams, dude. There's probably bits and stuff, and by bits I mean material.
Can I tell you a dream I had, and it actually was a bit.
Yeah.
I should try this on stage tonight. Make me do it tonight.
Okay.
I had a dream. Let me see how it went. In my dream, I was. I heard a garbage man. Okay. What it was is I was coming out of sleep and I was waking up, and the garbage man was outside the window.
Yeah.
And I heard that beep beep, and I heard him talking, right. And as he was talking, I heard the beep beep, and so my dream was like, wow, they're even censoring the garbage man. Right?
Yeah.
Like I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then. So I woke up and I told my wife, because I continue to wake up. I go, oh my gosh, that's actually really funny. Like the beep, I blended the beep beep with his talking. I told my wife, I ran in the kitchen. I go, hey, I just had a dream. I wrote a great joke in my dream. She goes, what is it? And I told her what it was. And she's like, wow, you write funnier jokes in your sleep than when you're awake. I need to go back to bed and do some writing.
Yeah. She says, just go to bed for the next 2 years, Darren.
Yeah. I wrote a whole hour. By the way, it's funny you say that. There was a guy, I'm listening to this history of country music, this book. I love this book, Ken Burns. Go look it up, guys. It's so good. This book is great. And I forget the guy's name. Can't think of it right now, but he wrote a whole song in his sleep.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think that's definitely happens. Well, the movie, not the movie, the book, Frankenstein. That lady had a dream, and that's what inspired Frankenstein. The movie Misery, or the book by Stephen King. He was on an airplane, had a dream. Then he jotted it down. That's how he wrote that movie. So your mind is like kind of always moving. I mean, just because we're asleep don't mean that something's going on. So that's why I do like to keep my pen and paper there to jot down things, because if the more you do that, the better you get at remembering things.
Now, weren't you working on an erotic novel at one point?
Yeah, so we're getting pretty close on that. We got the first draft of the erotic novel done. And,
do a lot of those stories happen in your sleep?
Well, there are both. A lot of those stories put me to bed, you know what I'm saying? So
you wake up with a boner. Ooh, I got to write that one down.
I got to write that one down. That was a good one. Oh, yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one. That was a good one. Hey. So I'm hoping to get the erotic novel done pretty soon. Because I wrote, with the erotic novel, I just wrote the first thing down all in my notebook. And it's so crazy that I met my wife when I was working on this erotic novel. And I was writing all the erotic novel down on a notebook. I said, okay, when I finish this notebook, that's the end of the book. So I didn't know, I just started writing. So now I got to go through and organize it and clean it up. And, you know, but I'm going to be selling it. Next year at this time, I'll be selling it at the shows. so we got something to offer the 6 audience members. Okay, so
dude, this podcast is all over the place. 5 minutes ago, I'm reading this Bible book, Trusting God Day by Day. You're like, I'm going to have an erotic novel, page by page. They turn their page to August 18th. Boom, I got a horny story.
Yeah, exactly, dude. How you got your daily devotionals? This is devote you to getting lucky, guys. This is.
Maybe you could do. Are you going to make it like? Is it going to be graphic or is it going to be family friendly?
It's going to be family friendly-ish.
Dude, I love it. A family friendly erotic novel. It's a first. I never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, family friendly erotic novel.
With pictures.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, dude, you're something else, man. Ohio. So what else is going on? So you're a 45-year-old freshman.
Yeah.
Are you still 45?
Yeah, I'm still 45. I'll be 46 in August. I'm gonna graduate. Should actually graduate next year. From that school.
Let me ask you a question. Here's the thing I wonder about. Like, this is in the news a lot now. It's in the media. It's in the lexicon. You know, I hear micro dirty jobs.
Yeah, he's cool.
And they talk about like about how college is indoctrination. It tries to. It's basically a platform for people to pay a lot of money. This is the negative part of college. They're saying like they're just getting people to be in debt. They go to college. They graduate. Now they're all this money in debt, and they can't really even get a job with what they've learned.
Yeah.
All right, but then some colleges you actually learn a trade. You learn something, and you can make money. But what are you finding by going to college? Well, do you go to Princeton or Harvard? I don't even know where you go.
I go to Defiance College in Ohio. It's a small school.
Yeah, that might actually be better.
Yeah, I think so. There's like 20 kids per every teacher, 20 students per every teacher.
That's better than high school.
Yeah, so it's a small, okay, so for me, I have gotten a lot out of it in different things, but there is still kind of like you were just saying with that math thing, a total waste. Some of it is a total waste. Instead of those classes, you know, I wish that they would teach the kids practical things. I wish there was a class in there that would teach people plumbing, home remodels, stuff like that. That's applicable. And as we saw in the pandemic, when they start cutting people's jobs, guys who knew how to take care of houses were still there. Now there's trade schools and stuff to go for that, right? But it's like, I know this guy who was a killer wrestler, dude, like awesome. And he could have went to college and done his thing and went far. But he wanted to be a plumber. Why? Because a plumber can eventually make some good money. So he didn't go to college, right? You learn that on your own. But just saying that the schools from high school on up, they should be teaching more practical things. They should be teaching us things how to fix cars and stuff like that. Even if you're going to give us these classes that are total nonsense, to the actual degree we're going for, teach us something practical.
By the way, I knew a plumber. I talked to a guy that was a plumber for a while.
Yeah.
Like he worked for a plumber, and he said, he goes, I thought it was just going to be like fixing sinks, maybe unplugging the toilet. He said, no, he had to go under crawl spaces, and he was under a house, and he saw these, and he has a flashlight, and he saw these glowing eyes, and he heard that, and he looked, and it was a bunch of possums down there.
Oh, heck.
And he got out of there as fast as he could.
Oh, man, that would be so scary. So
dude,
it's a tough job, dude.
Yeah, it's creepy as hell.
It's creepy. So, but, imagine that just for yourself in general. Imagine if you knew how to do more stuff around your house. If everybody did, right?
Yeah, I agree.
That's a money saver in the long time.
And I also, what's great about now is there is, the YouTube college.
The YouTube tutorials.
Right? And AI. Like, I have a friend that he went through his whole website and he used AI to help him, like, figure out little things. And if he doesn't know, like, somebody the other day asked me to send them a one sheet, and you can go on AI and be like, what's a one sheet? And how could I compose this letter? And I mean, so in a way, it's really great that we can do it ourselves now. But that's what I'm saying. So it's almost like how a lot of things went away, like certain, like jobs. I'm wondering if, I mean, obviously you got to go to college if you want to learn rocket science or brain surgery or something, but the basics.
I'll agree. Like there's, okay. If I weren't in my kind of situation I'm in, I wouldn't really see a reason to do it. Okay, I was just kind of in this different situation, and it's something I wanted to go back and kind of finish up on. Now, some of the kids are probably getting a lot of it. Some of them aren't. It's changed a lot since I was in college the first time, because back then there was no technology. There was no cell phones. There was no computer, so you just sat there, took notes, listened, right? And back then I don't think there was much of the propaganda push going on. There was still some. But the irony is, when I was in school in 1999, they were saying the world was going to end in 4 years because of global warming. I go back to school in 2024, they're saying the world is going to end in 4 years because of global warming. Now, I'm not a math major, but it was more than 4 years from 1999 to 2024, and they're still saying 4 years. So why are they doing that? That's propaganda. That's fear. And they're putting this in the beginning of the business books to put fear in the kids. So, yeah, there's a lot wrong.
Dude, read this. It's so funny you said that. Look at April 4th. Look what it says right there.
April 4th. This one here? Fear is not going away, so do it afraid. Is that what I'm reading?
Mm-hmm.
God is with you everything you do.
Genesis
21:22.
Yeah, read that again. Genesis 21:22.
Fear is not going away, so do it afraid. God is with you in everything you do.
Isn't that great? You just said fear, and it reminded me of that Bible verse. So fear's not going, so do it afraid.
Yeah. So but yeah, what was I saying, Darren? I totally forgot.
Oh, that you're in college.
Oh, yeah, and the comparison of it, whether it's good or not, I mean, it depends. Now, I've had some really cool teachers. I'm learning stuff. A lot of the stuff, like, I've been working on is, well, one cool thing is that one of my teachers has written a bunch of books. And he's been talking to and helping me with how to structure a book, how to do all that. He's made money off of writing books. But, yeah, as far as the school goes, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be. I just kind of want to do my thing with it, and sometimes I think it's good. Other times it's nonsense. They have a lot of. I wouldn't disagree with the person that you were mentioning at the beginning who said all those things, because there is a lot of that. I think that to me they need more practical stuff. They need to be more family oriented. See, kind of almost the theme of this podcast is like the people in LA never want to settle down, never want to have family. Which there's a lot of fun to that, and it's not necessarily wrong. It ain't wrong at all. It's it's your choice. It's just that sometimes there's not like there's less people giving options to people who are kind of family oriented. For instance, at my college, every corner is an LGBTQ post, and I'm like, well, how many people, why is this, A, why does it matter, B, why is it on there, and C, how come I never saw anything for people who want to have a family in the future?
You said poster?
Like posters, like you walk through the school and there'll be and you just see them in every I mean, that's like the number one poster around the school.
Oh, you're not really seeing like like a man and woman and children. You're not seeing like family, like.
Yeah, they're not teaching these kids about family. They're teaching us about this rare thing that maybe a small percent of kids are in, but doesn't even. And even at that school, I'm like, this school is like got a decent amount of like people that wouldn't really be going to that. So why is that being pushed and not being the family oriented part being pushed? Why isn't there pictures of, hey, we got one day you'll be a parent day coming up, and come check it out?
Even when my son was in elementary, they had a thing. It was like I forget that exactly. It would be like muffins with moms, and it would be like, you know, on Monday. And then Tuesday was donuts with dads, and then eventually they changed it to where it was just all neutral and like no more muffins with moms and donuts with dads. They got
crazy. I mean, they want it, but it's a strategic thing. Is trying to wipe out the family unit because. The sooner that they can do that, the more quickly that people become reliant on government. You know, and there's that book, Brave New World, and in that book, that mom and dad were bad words.
Wow.
So you can totally see the government trying to push for that.
Oh, I just got it from the internet. It says now it was donuts with dads, muffins with moms. Now it's called Beyond Meat with domestic partners. So. Do you call your wife your wife?
Yeah, I guess so. My wife, I'm still like kind of like, you know, I don't know. I haven't said it that much, so yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember when we first people first get married, sometimes they still say their girlfriend or their fiance.
I said that a couple of times. Yeah, my girl, my woman, you know.
I was watching TV the other night. That's where I got that domestic partner. This lady referred to her as my domestic partner, and I'm like,
yeah, nobody better ever refer to me as that because that partnership is over. Yeah. Domestic, no, I don't like that. Yeah. So, but so just I guess the college, it just depends on what people are doing, but I think it's kind of nonsense a little bit. But
hey, what's something you've recently discovered or rediscovered?
Well, I don't know. I guess kind of wrestling. I mean, I guess I've been doing that for a while though, but discovered or rediscovered. I don't know. I like reading. I mean, I always knew I liked reading, but I've been reading this book, The Fountainhead. Yeah, I guess that would be discovered. That book is awesome.
What is it?
So it's by Ayn Rand, and she was, I think she was like from the Soviet Union or something. And anyway, she's an awesome writer because, man, the story is crazy because it starts off with this architect, what's his name, Peter Keating, and then this other architect, Howard Rourke, and Howard Rourke gets kicked out of the school where their architect's at, and Keating becomes like the man. He's like Mr. Popular. So they go out into the real world and get their jobs, and Rourke is always having troubles with people, but he's the best freaking architect. He's a genius. And Rourke's not a good architect, but he smoozes people well. And then there's this guy Ellsworth Toohey, who's kind of like the secretive bad guy, but you don't know he's bad, but he's basically pushing like his agenda. And it comes down to a lot of like socialism versus capitalism, independent versus collective. And basically you get down to the point where Howard Rourke is the society keeps kicking him around, he's saying bad things about him, and the newspapers are always attacking him. But he's the only one that's the true purist. Like, he come and look at the architecture thing, and he could be up all night, and when he's done, he's got it perfect. And he thinks about the people living in the house, not just the house. So he has, like, how it would be. So whenever somebody moves into the house, like, this is perfect for me. Somebody might be driving by like, that's an ugly house. But the person who bought the house is like, oh, and right there's my desk. That's where I would have put my desk, you know? Like, so he takes it like a pure art form, and everybody else is just kind of scrounging around. And you see how the writer, she makes these characters in such a way that you're kind of learning through their stories and about doing what you think is right, even though everybody else is like, man, that's this and this and that, and keep going. And Howard Rourke, people have been taking, like, the Keating guy always takes advantage of him, steals his drawings and this and that, but he never cares. He just keeps doing his thing. He gets fired from something, he quits. It's just like the way he is really.
I looked it up right now as you're talking. It said, why is it controversial? And it said, because this ideology can be seen as selfish and dismissive of community and altruism.
Yeah. So in that book, the people that I consider bad guys in the book are pushing this altruism, like we're so great, but it's that whole phony thing. It's that whole like LA actually type of thing, right? Where you don't feel the God because these people I'm out there helping all these people. Here I am. See how good I am putting my mask on, and you should too. Well, now all of a sudden, you're not so great because you're telling me what you do. We're doing it this way, so you should do it this way. And then if you're like, nah, dude, I ain't doing it that way. I'm doing the way that's true to me. He's selfish. He's terrible. What a horrible human being. Right?
Yeah.
We are so good. Look at us. We are so good. We live on Beechwood Canyon in Hollywood. We are so good. When the news comes on and tell us to go inside and wear a mask and beat the pots and pans together at 6 p.m., we go out there and do that. And if you don't do that, you're a horrible human being.
That's true.
But we're so good.
Yeah, dude, that's interesting. And so this book fired you up. Have you ever read a book and then halfway through you're like, oh, I don't like them. This is propaganda and a message I don't agree with.
Yeah, to school, you talk about that to school all the time. I hate their textbooks. I catch it all the time. I highlight it. I call it out to the teachers. Like
how does it make you feel? Because you probably wouldn't even noticed it back in '99.
If I were 19, I would not notice it. I'm 45. I'm like, that's bull. That's a lie. That's propaganda. That's nonsense. Total lie. Oh, they're pushing the kids in this direction, huh? Oh, globalists. Oh, globalism again. Oh, mentioning communism again in a positive light. Okay. I see what's going on here. Yeah, okay. Work. Don't have a family till later in life. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, it's great. Does it make you happy or depressed or no? Or you don't feel one way or another?
It gets me fired up.
Yeah.
I mean, I get wild. My wife tells me, calm down. Don't write a political thing again, because I'll go on the paper and just...
I remember you told me like when college first started and they said something about owning your own business, and then you like piped up and were like, yeah, unless they shut it down.
yeah, right, yeah. So
do you remember that?
Yeah, I think that was
and then they all looked at you like this weird old guy, but then that one 19-year-old kid was like, hey, that guy's kind of cool. He thought you were kind of cool.
Yeah. It's that's what I found. Like a lot of the kids will kind of be listening to it because they can sense. I mean, it's not like they're dumb, man. They already graduated high school. They're in college. They're smart, but they're young, so it's easy to, and they're not going to want to write against the textbook.
Yeah.
Me, I will argue with the people writing the textbook. I feel like an equal ground to do it. Maybe they're smarter than me and whatever, but at this age, you've seen what you've seen. You can hold by not saying I could win any debate, but I can hold by my opinions. I can say this is why and this is why. And if you're saying this part in the book, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Finish that thought.
Well, if you're saying one part in the book, they should be putting on the flop side of it too, the reverse side, instead of making it so heavy-handed.
Okay, we gotta wrap up, but I want to say something. I'm a huge Kid Rock fan. I've been to his concerts. I used to buy all his albums. I think I still do. I don't know. I really don't buy albums like I used to, but
nobody does.
The guy's an amazing live performer, and I saw that Bill Maher, Donald Trump, Kid Rock all had a dinner. Did you see that?
I saw that on the news or on YouTube somewhere. I think it would have been a great time for Kid Rock to take his guitar out and bash it over Bill Maher's head. But
oh man, you're crazy. I was wondering if you were coming around though. No. All right, let's turn our Bibles to page. I thought, well, if these guys can have a summit, maybe Brian would go there.
Well, I don't know. I guess I could. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Bill Maher trying to come around too. See, that's my point. Goes to the beginning of the show. 5 years ago, Bill Maher was calling for the extinction of people like myself. And now, what's he doing? He's seeing that the majority of the people thought like I do. So if he's want to keep making money, he's going to have to switch sides. So here he goes, Bill Maher switching sides. These guys are all about their career, not really about, what's right or wrong. When he thought the money was the other direction, he went that direction. Chump.
All right, buddy. Dude, I remember one time you were on a quick date. Do you remember that? Tell us about the quick date, and then we'll get out of here.
Quick date. You were ready
for
on
a really quick date.
Yeah. Well, a quick date. We sat down and we're talking, and she said,
this is out in L.A.
Yeah, out in L.A. at a sushi place. I like the sushi place. So she said we're talking, and she said something that she used to date Bill Maher. I said, oh, Bill Maher's a loser. I said, he's a punk. I could kick his ass. And she said, oh, wow. She started defending Bill Maher. I said, well, Bill Maher said that he wanted to punch that kid from Covington, Kentucky for wearing a Make America Great Again hat. There he is out threatening little kids. I'll knock Bill Maher out. I could take Bill Maher. Could we switch to something else, right? Something else. And then she said, can we switch topics to something else? I said, well, yeah, you got his number. Oh, I wanted Bill Maher's number to challenge him.
Oh yeah, because you're like, I want to fight him. I'll do it for. I'll do UFC.
Charity,
I'll do wrestling. We'll donate the money to charity.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy's like 72.
Well, come on, dude. I was gonna.
I don't know how old he is, but yeah.
Well, but see, the point was, Darren. He said he was gonna punch the kid from Covington, Kentucky. So he's already out there saying he thinks he's tough because he's gonna punch this kid. So since he's saying he's gonna punch the kid, I'm like, okay. So then what did she say? Something else she say? And I said something else about Bill Maher, and luckily she finally left. So I didn't have to buy her dinner, so that was good.
Oh yeah, you said she was gone by the time the appetizer got there. Yeah. His name is Nicholas Sandman. He was the kid, Covington, Kentucky. They went out to D.C. and
Bill Maher wanted to fight him.
Yeah, and by the way, it says Nicholas Sandman, the Covington, Kentucky student, featured in all this media coverage. It says he. Something about he won all these suits and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
all these lawsuits.
He made a lot of money on the lawsuits. Yeah, he made a lot of money on the lawsuits. So, hey, Darren, what time are our shows tonight?
Oh, you want to go? All right, buddy. Listen, thank you for doing the podcast. We got to get out of here now. Let's go to that diner. Let's grab some eggs, some meat, some protein. Get bumped. How many push-ups you do today?
Oh, I only did 10.
Oh, damn, I did 200. But you probably did other stuff.
Yeah, I did a lot of other stuff too.
All right. What's your daily exercise, and then we'll jam.
Well, it depends with wrestling practice, but I always wake up, stretch, do some push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. I don't do a lot, just a little bit, so that I do it every day. And then I try to jump rope, run, lift, and wrestling when we have wrestling practice. Because you figure for like 6 months, I was wrestling almost every day. Well, like 3 days a week at least. So.
That's a big difference, pal.
Well, pretty much every day, 5 days a week, sometimes
every day, 3 days a week.
Well, at least but during the real season, for 4 months, I was wrestling 5 days a week.
That's crazy, man. You must, you're in
college
incredible shape.
College wrestler schedule.
Guys, check out Brian on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere else. All right, guys, that's it. Darren Carter, Party Starter. Hope you guys had another, great day today, and thanks for spending part of your day with us. And if you enjoyed this episode, click that Buy Me a Coffee link and share this episode with a couple of people. All right, see you later. Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to The Pocket Party.